Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. As you saw at the top of the show, we got a pretty loaded rundown and a pretty loaded show altogether. Let's jump right into those national headlines. Saturday night, UFC 193 in Melbourne, Australia. She did it. Holm defying the odds going into this fight, a 7-1 underdog. Straight up knocked out Ronda Rousey in the second round of their bantamweight title fight. Again, huge crowd of 56,000 there at Etihad Stadium. Holm, a 7-1 underdog, but started as high as a 15-1 underdog. A lot of people placing bets. Vegas just lost their minds here with this fight. Holm, of course, improves to an undefeated 10-0. Rousey has received a medical suspension of 6 months, so don't expect this fight, the rematch that is, to happen within the next 6 months. If it does happen, and we'll talk about it in the roundtable, we'll give you, some ideas, but likely sometime next summer. We move to a bigger fight, or I shouldn't say a bigger fight just because that one was so enormous. A pretty big fight as far as boxing is concerned. Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez will be fighting Saturday night at the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Earlier this week, the WBC stripped Miguel Cotto of his 160-pound title for not paying a $300,000 sanctioning fee. But they are allowing Canelo to fight for the title. You gotta love boxing. The bout will air again on HBO pay-per-view. Canelo Alvarez is favored, and some of you bettors might be interested in taking this bet by 2-1. Of course, Miguel Cotto, a 2-1 underdog in that one in Las Vegas. A fight happening across the pond in Germany. Arthur Abraham and Martin Murray will be facing each other in Abraham's home country of Germany. It's a big fight in Europe for that WBO super middleweight title. The fight, according to odds makers, is a virtual coin toss. So if you guys can find a stream of that fight, definitely suggest you do because it's supposed to be a big one. We move back to this side of the world. Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico. Neil Magny and Kelvin Gastelum will be facing off here on the TUF Latin American 2 finale. The Magny, of course, has won 8 out of his last 9 fights. The Chicano, who will have the crowd on his side, and that's Kelvin Gastelum, of course, is a 3-1 favorite on this one. So make sure you guys catch it. It'll be interesting to see how the number 13 Magny and the number 15 Gastelum match up. Of course, both of these guys looking to just rise up the rankings in that one. Another fight that has a lot of local attention on that card is the return of Diego Sanchez. After 17 months of inactivity, he returns to face a very tough Ricardo Lamas. Again, the native Albuquerquean Sanchez is back in action as he takes on the bully, who is looking to rebound from April loss to Chad Mendes. Sanchez, a big underdog in this one. A lot of you were backing Holm in our last fight. Let's see if you back Sanchez up, a 4.5-1 underdog. And as we mentioned earlier, Diego Sanchez has always wanted to fight in Mexico City. He mentioned that and just kept telling the UFC representatives that after his last fight here in Albuquerque, again 17 months ago. That'll do it for the national headlines. Let's run right into those local ones. Our guest today and Fit NHB's own Brenda Gonzalez goes here. Holly wasn't the only one to capture a 135-pound title that night. Brenda captured the Sugar Creek Showdown bantamweight title on Saturday night in Oklahoma when she defeated Anita Rodriguez in that one. Brenda Gonzalez, who's been ranked at 125 pounds internationally, is looking to make some noise here in the 135-pound division. We'll, of course, have an interview with her and see where eventually this is going to take her. Another person here out of the Albuquerque area, specifically Rio Rancho, trained in the South Valley, however, Brian Mendoza just keeps winning. He's fought 7 times this year. Over the weekend, he improved to 10-0 after defeating Eddie Cordova at the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia, via first-round TKO. I mean, don't look now, but Brian Mendoza might be one of the top 2 fighters, especially boxers, of the year. The fight, as I mentioned, is Mendoza's 7th of 2015 alone. He'll be looking to step up in competition come 2016. So big things happening for the Rio Rancho guy. In more news, especially here locally, Stephen Cervantes, undefeated 5-0, will be taking on Sean Brunch Saturday night at the Craneway Pavilion in Richmond, California. Bunch might be familiar to a lot of you here locally. You might recall that he faced Rio Rancho's Steve Garcia at the Santa Ana Star Center back in 2013. So again, Stephen Cervantes looking to improve to 5-0 there in that 135-pound weight class. Another guy here specifically out of Jackson's MMA, Cody East, will be back in action, participating in a card out in California, as well as he will be facing 32-fight veteran Dave Hakuba, again, Saturday night as part of Global Knockout 5's card at Jackson's Rancheria Casino in California. So as soon as we get updates on that one, make sure to catch our Facebook page to see all the results. Friday night, we mentioned here at the top of the hour, local event happening. King of the Cage Evolution will be going down at the Sheraton Uptown Hotel. Of course, center of town, so it's pretty easy and accessible for all you to get to. The featured pro fight is a middleweight division bout between Judgment MMA fighter Anthony Rosima and Mexico Cesar Zanripa. Cesar Zanripa, for those of you guys, Zamaripa, I should say, is a pretty tough guy if you guys haven't caught any of his videos there on YouTube. So pretty good pro featured bout. But the main event, Stacy Segala from Hobbs, New Mexico, takes on Nico Montano at bantamweight. Nico's originally from Colorado, but she has a large presence here in Albuquerque as she trains at Fit NHB. So a lot of local fighters here on the card, so make sure you guys go check them out, especially after the hype weekend we had this past weekend. Let's jump right into those highlights. Get ready for those crazy knockdowns that took place in that Rodriguez fight. So here we go. Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey is bout again. Holly Holm just demonstrating incredible technique and boxing in this fight, just easily outpointing and outstriking Ronda Rousey. Just unbelievable. Look at that. Even the takedown, and a lot of people there, this is where I think Ronda Rousey had her only chance. Possible armbar there. We had Holm just lighting her up. Not a whole lot of head movement from Rousey. Just prone and just made for a boxer, especially great boxer in Holly Holm. And here's a takedown, surprisingly, from Holly Holm, and then that one. Whoop! And here's a knockout. Of course, we can't show you the main knockout for pay-per-view reasons, but I'm sure you guys have seen it all over the web. Just unbelievable and incredible. 2 ground and pound hammer fist. Holly Holm landing there, becoming the 135-pound UFC champion, becoming the second native New Mexican to claim a world title in the UFC. Joanna, I should say, Jędrzejczyk and Valerie Letourneau, strawweight title fight. This fight was very technical. A lot of people enjoyed it because of the technique that both women demonstrated, and guess what? They stood. They stood right in front of the other. Oh, look at that kick. Chale Marfe. Kick right to the chest. Just the champion way too much. It will be difficult for anyone, I think, in that division, especially in the top 10 to compete with Joanna. Just incredible technique. Very good kickboxing demonstrator. She was extremely emotional after this fight. It was very interesting to know what she may have gone through in training camp. And here's Kyle Noak with another kick right to the torso. Peter Sobata just taking one of the ribs. Kyle Noak not letting up, dropping some mean ground and pound. You'll see the refs stop this fight. And Peter Sobata will just painfully grimace there on the ground, obviously taking that shot. Another one. Oof. Perfect shot from Kyle Noak, who surprisingly was an underdog here going into this fight, even though he was fighting in front of his fans there in Australia. Look at this shot. Boom. That's painful. Here's the crazy one I was telling everybody about. Friday night, PBC, Edwin Rodriguez and Michael Seals. Michael Seals tumbling face first to the ground, just wild. Look at them. Edwin Rodriguez just calling out Seals. Bring it. Comes the short shot. Whoop. Down goes Rodriguez. Just shocking, both guys. Look at him flailing around. Impressively, Rodriguez would come back off the canvas and win this fight and end it. Again, a very entertaining fight between Rodriguez and Seals, and there's the finish. Very good technique, very good precision from Rodriguez. We'll see what comes up. Don't get too many well-matched PBC fights in those main events. Lately you have, so nonetheless, we'll check out and see what PBC has in store for 2016. That'll do it. Headlines, both national and local. Highlights. What's next? We got our guest, Brenda Gonzalez, after the break.